Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A raging fire fueled by scorching temperatures and dry conditions. It happened today at a trailer home in Von Army.
And neighbors jumped in to help here. Our Jonathan Cotto explains they not only called 911, but they helped put out this fire with their own water hoses.
Bexar County emergency responders arriving at this home in Von Army just minutes before 11 this morning. An RV up in flames. It was this neighbor, Luis Reina, who quickly caught scent of the smoke, saw the flames, and called for help.
My grandson looked towards back over here where I'm standing. He said, "No, Grandpa, there's a fire going on." I turned around and oh my God, next door neighbors had a big old fire going on. Their RV was burning and it was just crackling and tires were burning. The battalion chief says they had no problem with the fire hydrant and accessing it, but Reina says they were met with some challenges getting to the fire. Well, the fire department got here real early, but they couldn't get back here. They couldn't get to the back because their fire trucks were too big, so they had to call, I guess, the other smaller fire trucks to come in through there. And it took them a while, but they got here luckily in time.
This property owner says the flames were able to quickly jump onto his land and said it was his actions late last week that kept this fire from spreading any further.
I cut my grass. My wife told me, go and cut the grass. And I said, "Oh, it's too hot. It's 100 degrees. He said, cut it because you never know what's going to happen. We've been seeing on the news fires going on left and right. And reluctantly, I cut it. But you know what? Now I think, thank you, Jesus, and thank my wife that I did cut it. Because if not, what would have happened? The battalion chief on scene says no injuries were reported and the cause of the fire is under investigation. Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Meantime, another fire last night at a Northwest Side apartment complex, and this one made even more tense because of issues with weak fire hydrant pressure. A fire department spokesman said that private hydrants on the property and then hydrants along Gus Eckert Road had extremely low pressure. Other hydrants in the area along Fredericksburg Road were a ways downhill. Saws said it tested 10 hydrants in that area this morning, and 9 of them met the pressure standards. That 10th hydrant was down, believed to have been hit by a car recently. The utility suggested that multiple trucks drawing water uphill may have been the issue, but a spokeswoman could not explain why the hydrants on Fredericksburg worked better for the department.
Now to an update on that 400-acre wildfire in Hays County. Fire crews say that blaze now 65% contained, and people who live in the area can now return to their homes. That fire started about 2 p.m. Saturday in San Marcos. The Texas A&M Forest Service tells us crews are prioritizing the northern perimeter of that fire today. Officials also tell us any residents who were previously asked to leave and first responders can return to the area.
Now, with the ongoing heat and dry conditions, a reminder about some safety tips to keep in mind during this drought. Avoid parking a recently driven vehicle on dry grass. Don't throw out cigarette butts out of your car window, and clear dry grasses and vegetation from around your home.
To a developing story now. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office reporting 2 inmates died while in custody over the weekend. BCSO says a deputy found Kevin Arbayo unresponsive in the restroom last Saturday. The deputy then called for medical staff to perform life-saving measures, but he died. The sheriff's office says he had a medical episode. On the same day, a deputy found Wade Graham also unresponsive in his bunk. Medical staff took Graham to the nearby hospital. According to BCSO, he died the next morning. BCSO says Graham's death was also due to a medical episode. The medical examiner will determine their exact cause of death.
Well, we are all dealing with this heat, but imagine having to do it from inside of a food truck. These small businesses have had to adjust to these triple-digit temperatures.
RJ Marquez takes us inside a local food truck to check out how hot it really is in the kitchen.
Francisco Estrada and his wife Liz have owned Naco Mexican food truck on Nacogdoches Road for 5 years.
I think this year is the hottest time that I remember.
Their business and workers, like many others, doing their best to stay cool during this heat wave.
It's going to be 5:32.
Drink a lot of water. We try to get out to the heat, to the kitchen 10 or 15 minutes every 2 hours more or less.
Temperatures inside the truck can easily get over 100 degrees on a hot day.
Outside we have 100 degrees. The kitchen is 110 degrees, 10 degrees.
All right, well, as we all know, it's hot outside, but we brought out our infrared camera to show you just how warm it gets and the conditions inside the food truck here. Let's check it out. So we're gonna check out some of the stovetops, and if I point our infrared camera there, you can see we're already reaching temperatures that are over 200 degrees, from 197 up to 200 degrees. This is just one stovetop right here. As we check out this gentleman working over here in this cooking area, you can see that, wow, we are already reaching temperatures that are up anywhere from 270 to over 300 degrees. Now, obviously, these are difficult conditions to work with, but they've installed 2 separate air conditioners in here to kind of help these people deal with this extreme heat.
Theory Coffee Company is next to Naco Mexican. Mark Volmer said he went 2 summers with basic AC before upgrading his system.
It takes a lot out of you. At the end of the day, you're just drained, you're exhausted. So I ended up putting a home mini split in the trailer.
Both trucks operate early in the morning to beat the heat.
Here's your food.
And say they see a decline in customers as the day gets hotter.
Especially on weekends, we have long lines. They just come in, grab their tacos, and they go home.
RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, look outside with live cam out there today. We broke a record, Adam Caskey.
Yeah, we sure did. By 1 degree, but we broke a record. 105, our high temperature today at San Antonio International. 97 is the average. We're going to be way above that for the foreseeable future. Now, you look across the state, and several cities had record highs, either tying them or exceeding the record. Laredo, 111. Old record, 109. Del Rio, record high temperature of 109, the old record being 106. San Angelo, Houston, Corpus Christi, Austin, Midland. You look across the state, and many locations had record high temperatures today. Locally, we made it up to 109 in Carrizo Springs, 105 Hondo and Gonzales. We're all feeling the heat. We're going to talk more about the record challenging heat, which days we're likely to hit more record highs, and the supply and demand forecast by ERCOT in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. School supplies aren't cheap, so back to school means tightening the budget for many South Texas families.
And for some of those families, that means relying more on food pantries for help. Max Massey visited a food pantry on the south and northeast sides to see how they're preparing for that need.
It is amazing that Southside has this food pantry.
Meet Irene Nieto. She's brought up many kids and grandchildren through the Southside ISD public schools, and she knows firsthand how important this food pantry is for the community.
We have parents that are under poverty level in this district. We have parents that are right above poverty level in this district. Those parents that maybe even are 2-parent, working families, food runs out, children get hungry.
And the need, it's not just isolated to the south side of town.
What we do allows people to spend money on other things like school supplies and things.
Lana Averill helps out here at Real Life Community Outreach, a program her parents started that helps more than 350 families every week.
We talk to families all the time that tell us how appreciative they are of what we're doing and how they couldn't make it without us. And again, they're able to buy medication daily and just different things like that.
Because of the need right as the school year is about to begin is so high, there are ways that you can step up and help out with donations.
If anybody wants to help and take up a food donation, we welcome it. We can certainly use the help. Non-perishable foods, particularly right now we're out of cereal. So cereal would be very beneficial.
We want volunteers. We love it when companies come and serve with us. They don't have to go far away. Right here, companies in the northeast side of town can come serve with us.
If you want to help out, we have the ways to do so right now. Just head to KSAT.com. Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
And some school districts in our area actually started back today. Here are the ones that start later this week. Jordanton ISD will be back in the classroom tomorrow. Idea Public Schools, Lytle, Pleasanton, and South San will go back on Wednesday. And on Thursday, Bernie ISD students will go back as well. For a full list of when other districts in our area start school, just scan this QR code on your screen, or you can go to KSAT.com.
And with it being back to school time, coming up this Thursday, we're hosting a town hall focused on student mental health. It's more important than any supply on your checklist, so join us as we talk to school staff and mental health professionals. This live stream will be on all of our KSAT streaming platforms beginning right after this newscast on Thursday at 7 p.m. Let's take a look at traffic out there at a trouble spot we've been watching for the last hour or so since 5 o'clock. 1604 at Schoenfeld Road. You can see there traffic very slow going on both the main lanes as well as the access road. And this camera's freezing up just a bit, but several of those police vehicles there on the scene. Not exactly sure what they're responding to, but it is something that's taking quite a while to clear away. You can see a lot of people there in the neon vests off in the grassy area, but something that's definitely slowing things down in this part of town, both on 1604 and off.
Still ahead on the news at 6, details on a tech training program that's helping military veterans get jobs after they serve. The different certifications they can earn and how to sign up. Next. Securing our schools, a top priority for districts here in San Antonio as students return to class. Tonight on the Night Beat, what districts are doing to add school resource officers and why some of the larger ones are struggling to find them. It's on the Night Beat at 10.
A free tech training program for veterans, their spouses, and at-risk youth. We reported on this pilot program back in February.
Yeah, the first NPower graduates were so successful, it's now a rooted program here in San Antonio. As Courtney Friedman reports, they just started an even bigger wave of training, and it's not too late to join.
Michaela Fry has been a military spouse for over 2 decades.
My husband served 21 years. He's retired, finally retired through Air National Guard, and still works on base.
Now she's focusing on her career in tech thanks to NPower, a national nonprofit offering veterans and spouses free IT training. In February, she caught our story on KSAT about the new pilot program in San Antonio. She signed up, just graduated on Friday, and already has started an apprenticeship.
Are you earning more now than you have before?
Absolutely. There's no question.
The first 16 weeks of the program cover basic tech training, offering 4 industry certifications.
I have my CompTIA ITF. I have Google Project Management, Google Fundamentals.
Then NPower can help her earn more certifications as she progresses.
Now, a lot of these classes are virtual, but students do come here to this office off of 410 to get help with cover letter and resume writing, as well as mock interviews.
92% of the students stayed through the whole pilot program, and 1/3 of the class already has new jobs. 44% of the class were women, furthering an NPower goal.
Increasing the amount of women in tech. They represent 5% globally, and so we're looking to diversify tech, change the stereotypes.
NPower San Antonio site director Samantha Coleman says another goal is to include more at-risk youth ages 18 to 26 in their classes.
Moving people from poverty to middle class status and reaching the most vulnerable in the community.
Fry hopes anyone eligible will take advantage.
It's opened up an entire world to me that I just never thought I would be able to achieve. I thought that was for other people, and now I can.
Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Today was orientation for the new group of students. You can still sign up until Thursday. Just contact NPower. Now, if you don't have a laptop or Wi-Fi hotspot, NPower says they can provide them for you.
The Purple Heart is a medal that nobody wants.
But its significance is unmatched, awarded to members of the United States military who were injured in combat. San Antonio is the largest Purple Heart chapter in the entire country, Chapter 1836. It's why on this Purple Heart Day today, local veterans got a glimpse of a new monument under construction that commemorates the sacrifice men and women have made for their country. They say that the Price of Freedom monument, which includes 3 soldiers from Afghanistan, Korea, and Vietnam, will bring patriotism to another side of town.
We dedicated I-35 from Laredo to Oklahoma as Purple Heart Trail. Then there's a monument downtown across from San Francisco Cathedral with pavers, of all Purple Heart recipients. But on the south side, there was nothing.
At least not yet. The Price of Freedom monument is expected to be complete next summer. It's at the VFW 9186, not far from Mission San Jose.
Glad they're doing that. All right, Weather Authority right now, hot. More hot.
Yeah.
Even hotter.
Yeah, and actually this summer we've had more 105-degree days or greater than we ever have on record. Just another analytic to look at. Let's get you ready for tomorrow. 79 in the morning at 7 a.m. Very sticky and muggy then. Then 105 is what we're going for tomorrow. That would be a record high by 1 degree and a south-southeasterly wind at 10 to 15. Bandera, 105. Uvalde, Hondo, about 104. Nixon, Floresville, 105 tomorrow afternoon. Then you look at the trend, and we don't really see any relief here. Anywhere from 103 to 106 for high temperatures for the rest of the week, through the weekend, and even this time next week. And we are anticipating 4 of the next 7 days to either tie or exceed the record high for the day here in San Antonio. Do keep in mind, climatologically speaking, this is the hottest part of the year in town when we have our warmest average high being 97 degrees. So then we think about ERCOT supply and demand. You may have noticed that they issued their weather watch again. That's because they're anticipating the demand for energy to get really close to the projected supply during the hottest part of the day. Looking ahead, the top blue line here, that's the projected supply for the given day, and then the red is the expected demand. So we are expecting to have enough power. It's going to get close, especially on Thursday when it gets a little bit hotter. That supply and demand, those two lines are getting a little closer. So it's just a good reminder to conserve as much as you can, especially between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. It's not this hot everywhere. We have some 70s and 80s up north. We just have the heat high parked overhead right now, and we're dealing with the heat as a result. In terms of our overall pattern, this upper level high is going to continue to dominate us. There is some active weather out there, and especially on the East Coast, there's a cold front. Big, widespread severe weather outbreaks, severe thunderstorms, even some tornado warnings on the East Coast up and down the eastern seaboard. But our upper level high, it's really going to stay right over Texas, move around a little bit, but not a whole lot. So it's not going to give us much variety in terms of our weather. The door will be open by this time next week for any kind of disturbance that would be in the upper levels to move in from the Gulf. Unfortunately, we just don't see any disturbances that could then drum up some rain. And you look at the tropics right now, there's not even a tropical wave out there that could have any potential of development over at least the next 48 hours. It is very quiet across the tropics, and that's typically the scenario, climatologically speaking, when it comes to El Nino years, which we are right now. Remnants of Tropical Storm Eugene, pretty wimpy little cloud swirl there. That's going to head northward into California. They'll get some extra clouds from it, maybe a few showers. That's it. Let's talk about our conditions here. 104 right now, dew point of 59. So the relative humidity is down to 23%. So the heat index, not a factor right now, and it's not going to be a factor during the hottest part of the day going forward for the foreseeable future. Notice how that relative humidity is high in the morning with that stickiness, then drops off in the afternoon. For the heat index, that's a good thing, but when it comes to fire danger, that can be a hazard. We're going to talk more about that at 6:45. I'll show you the Texas A&M Forest Service fire danger and risk map for tomorrow. It doesn't get any better. Nothing but sunshine, mornings near 80s and highs close to 105, 106.
Hey, it's going to cool off to 103 on Monday, though.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Celebrate.
Yeah, mark your calendar for that. Thanks, Adam.
All right, they've become a perennial power. Last year at the KSAT Pigskin Classic, I was on their sidelines watching their comeback victory.
That was such a game. The Steel Knights,
awesome.
yeah, always one of the better 6A teams in the area. So we continue our big game coverage previews. We stopped by Steele High School this morning to check out the Knights, who playing District 27 6A. Plus, Josh Young unfortunately suffered a bad break. We got some more details coming up.
3-1. And that's line to third. Oh, in and out of the glove of Young. He'll touch third base and throw over to second for the double play. Unbelievable.
Josh Young made a sweet double play, but it's going to cost the Rangers third baseman part of his rookie season in big board sports. All right, let's check in with the UTSA Roadrunners as they continue fall camp at the race practice fields on the main campus. The Roadrunners have an awesome tie-in and Brandeis alum Oscar Cardenas. For his career, he has 50 receptions for 717 yards and 4 touchdowns. And dude always seems to make a highlight reel catch. He's back and looking for his best season ever.
I know it's my 5th fall camp. I can't even believe it, but right now it's all about fundamentals and technique. Right now, I feel like I've done a good job knowing the playbook and everything like that, and it's really about the details in each route, the details in each block assignment, and all that. Doesn't matter, get better. That's our motto this year, and yeah, I mean, I had this amazing catch last year, but what can I do this year, and how many pancakes can I get this year? How many catches, no drops, you know what I mean? So stuff like that is going to be critical.
Congratulations to former UTSA defender Charles Wiley. The Cleveland Browns have signed the defensive end. He was originally signed by the Ravens as an undrafted free agent last season and spent some time between the Ravens and the Giants practice squads in 2022. The Steel Knights hit the football field this morning as we continue our big game coverage previews. Led by head coach David Saenz, the Knights are expected to be one of the top 6A teams in the greater San Antonio area and the entire state. Last season, they went 11-1 overall, 5-0 in district, losing to Lake Travis in the area round of the playoffs. The Knights have 10 returners coming back, 5 on each side of the ball, including quarterback Chad Warner. Dave Campbell's Texas football has still ranked 13th in the state and predicts they'll win the District 27 6A title, beating out Judson. The Knights are fired up for the brand new season.
Yes, sir, man. So just the intensity started really Thursday in team group meeting. We kind of set some standards down, set some rules down, and came out here Monday morning. And I mean, the whole weight room was just automatic. Like, intensity was high. We were just ready for this day one.
Yeah, you know, we're excited to be back. You know, there's a lot of excitement out here at this first practice, and you know, the guys have been working extremely hard in the off season, you know, through spring ball, and now you know, we got our fall camp going. So, you know, we're looking on the build of the success in the past, and then, you know, it's a new year, new group of seniors, and a whole new football team.
Steel will host Brennan Friday night, August 25th at 7:30 to kick off the regular season. A big-time contest right out of the gate. Texas Rangers rookie third baseman Josh Young is out indefinitely after a 109.4-mile-per-hour line drive broke his left thumb yesterday. It happened in the top of the 6th inning of the Rangers' 6-0 win against the Marlins for their 6th win in a row. Now, to his credit, Young turned the double play, but the damage was done, and he was finished for the rest of the game. Last night during post, skipper Bruce Bochy said Young will see a specialist, and it's too early to set a return date. Now, the general expectation for a broken thumb is 4 to 6 weeks. Earlier today, the Rangers placed him on the 10-day injured list. Now, no matter what, the Rangers will be without their all-star third baseman for a pivotal stretch of the regular season. They currently have a 2.5-game lead on the Astros in the AL West, and that one's just going to go down to the wire.
It's a tough guy, though.
Oh, it is.
Broke his thumb, still turned the double play, and even caught the ball on the return
Didn't
back.
even act like he was hurt.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
All right, still to come here in our next half hour, we're going to answer some big questions you probably have about why this summer is so hot. Stay with us.
It's gonna be hot. At the end of the day, you want to go home, just shower, and like not go outside anymore. But you will survive it.
Everyone this summer is looking for a way to beat the heat, but the impact can be more than just being uncomfortable.
Yeah, over the last several weeks, we've covered stories of how some San Antonians are living without air conditioning, how to keep your car running on 100-degree days, even a city effort to cool down the pavement. Here's how our KSAT team has covered combating the heat across South Texas.
Inside her East Side home, Maria Sullivan might not be beating the heat, but she is bearing it.
Yeah, I adjusted, I think, with all the heat.
There's no central AC, and one of her window units broke a few years ago. And the other?
This is the one I have, but it doesn't really get cold, especially when it's really hot.
So she makes do with a pair of fans, one of which isn't always reliable either.
It's new, but it only lasts about an hour, and it stops.
She avoids staying in the kitchen.
I make my food, and I come and I start eating over here because over there it's too hot.
And worries about how the heat may affect her health.
Well, yeah, but you just have to make do.
Because she says she doesn't have the money to fix it. She's surviving on her husband's pension.
With that, I pay the electricity, the water, and the rent.
Fortunately for Sullivan, community organizers with West Care, Texas brought her a new air conditioner today.
Yeah, aquí está.
They don't do many air conditioners, but they do give out fans. And they say Sullivan is far from the only one in this situation.
It has to be a bunches and bunches.
West Care organizers say they often see this problem at older homes like Miss Sullivan's, where air conditioning wasn't built into it, and the folks there can't afford a fix.
Seniors, single parents. So, you know, and there's a lot of people that are maybe have a husband and wife, but they can't afford it. Their electricity bills are too high, so they can't, if they do have it, they can't really run it.
But Sullivan is happy with the help and looking forward to cooler days ahead.
No, pues voy a estar bien.
Well, I'm going to be good, and it's not going to be hot.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
They want to help, man. I can help get it.
Pete Barrera packs as much as he can into his truck.
I got granola bars, I got crackers, I got waters, I got electrolytes.
And by the end of the day, it's empty again.
Yeah.
6 days a week, Barrera is driving through the streets of San Antonio, handing out supplies to those without shelter.
I got waters, I got cold, I got snacks. Y'all want some stuff, man? I'm here on a friendly basis.
He works for Haven for Hope. And this summer, the nonprofit is upping its efforts to help those in need.
We can't reach everybody, we can't save everybody, but we do the best we can.
And Sierra Smith is one of those people.
I've just been there, like just outside all day, just hanging in there really.
Smith says the extreme heat has been hard this summer, but it's something she's getting used to.
It's hot right now, but there's been hotter days where I'm just want to give up.
And she says Haven for Hope has helped her get through the heat.
There's nice people that come out to us and they come to the fence like that and they feed us.
Living out of a tent for the last 9 months.
People just bring tarps.
Rodriguez says she just wants to feel seen.
We're out here just like y'all are. I said, just because y'all have houses, we may not have houses. Our houses might be in a tent.
And that feeling, Barrera says he's hoping he's supplying the most.
Just remember that everybody's a human being no matter what situation they're in. Just because somebody's on the street doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person.
Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
About 15 a day.
Casey Holton goes on a lot of walks.
I've been doing this for about 15 years.
And he's always with a dog or two.
Right.
Holton runs a dog walking business, and these are 2 of his clients.
Just nothing but love, and obviously they trust me.
But with San Antonio heating up this summer, Holton has to cut his business hours short.
In between 11 and 8 to 8:30 at night is literally a siesta for me as far as dog walks.
Saying asphalt and sidewalks are just too hot to keep his dogs safe. And that's something the city is hoping to change soon with new cool pavement.
If it can cool down the neighborhood by a couple of degrees, it's really helpful.
The city just finished the first phase of its pilot program, paving 12 streets across San Antonio.
Cool pavement is one arrow in the quiver of heat mitigation tools.
The treatment uses materials that reflect solar radiation. And the city says this is a step towards sustainability and heat management across San Antonio.
We'll look at cool pavement in these most vulnerable census tracts or neighborhoods, and we'll add cool pavement, trees, and cool roofs to see how much we can cool down the neighborhoods.
Right now, UTSA is collecting data that the city will use in December to decide the next steps. But in the meantime, Holton's dog walking business will have to go with fewer walks.
If there's any hot weather, cut it shorter, whatnot.
Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
It's blowout season on Texas roads. Blistering 160-degree road temperatures can be brutal on tires.
This one does have some cracking on it.
Paul Hoogie at Thousand Oaks Automotive says worn tread is not safe.
You have a tire that does not grip. You have a tire that does not have very good traction in wet weather, so it's very dangerous. It also becomes a blowout hazard when that happens.
He has a handy tread checker, but if you don't have one of those tools, just get out a penny. You put it into the tread, and if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, it's time for new tires. Proper inflation is huge. Low tires create more friction and heat, but be careful, he says, not to overinflate.
You never want to put the tire at maximum PSI.
Under the hood, the thing the heat really saps, that battery.
It's supposed to be 3 years.
Brian Vollmer says heat affects the fluids and decreases the battery's capacity.
You look at this battery and it doesn't look that bad. But when I tested it, it does fail according to cold cranking amps. So in the near future, somebody's going to go out to start this car. If I don't replace the battery, and it's not going to want to start.
Next, check that coolant. If it's low or dirty, it can't properly cool the engine. And check the hoses. They can dry and crack. And finally, how's your car's AC?
If it feels like it's not up to par, chances are you're probably low on Freon or you could have a leak.
Bottom line, to keep your car humming in the heat, preventive maintenance and park in the shade. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
It's the start of football season in Livonia, and these coaches and players are doing anything to beat the heat, including practicing before the sun comes up.
We did that last year. We felt like it worked well, kept our kids out of the heat, especially now. This summer's been brutally hot, so it helps us keep them out of the heat a little fresher.
The University Interscholastic League has implemented several guidelines for schools during hot weather conditions. Water must be on the field and readily available to athletes at all times, and it's recommended that a minimum of 10 minutes be scheduled for a water break every half hour.
We've been preaching hydration all summer and off season, making our guys, carry around a gallon of water and just different things like that. Like, you've got to stay hydrated, you've got to eat right after workouts and all that stuff.
Marion head coach Ryan Miller says the UIL is also pushing for coaches to test the air before practicing using a wet bulb globe temperature index, which takes into account several weather factors.
Index, which is kind of an index that gives us a 3-category template to go off of, and it's based off humidity and heat and everything in the air. So we want to make sure we're following those guidelines.
Trainers and coaching staffs are also keeping a close eye for signs of heat illness, including significant weight loss, vomiting, and fatigue.
So we've met with our athletic training staff and make sure that they're monitoring, and the coaches are monitoring also. But it's just one of those deals that we're going to have to follow and make sure, obviously the athlete's health is the number one priority for us.
RJ Marquez, KSAT 12 News.
If you want to see our full story on how people across San Antonio and South Texas are beating the heat, scan this QR code on your screen.
So why has this summer been so hot? And is this the new normal? Meteorologist Adam Caskey answers those questions after the break.